Welcome back. It is 1578. We are getting so close to the end of the decade. In the last one, we had Constance age up into a toddler. We had the girls kind of getting a little tiff, but they're okay. We had Cestria start to fall in with Avina. And this year, we have a scary birthday, but let's back it up to Mary Whitehead, who is a vampire. Vampires get different roles than the regular Sims, so we can't get a 4 or an 18 for her. That was kind of close, but okay. Now Luke. Oh gosh, Luke. No 2, 4, or 6. Luke survived. Joanna Crookshank is aging up into a teenager. No 7 or 13. And then will she get married? She will. Will she have children? 7. That's a lot. Joanna Crookshank with a 7. And then Richard Hobart II is becoming a young adult. He can't get a 3 or an 18. He did not. Oh, we also have to get him married this year. So let's see. Who do we have? Maybe one of the Briggs? Yeah, I mean, these are both guys. So it would have to be... I think Agnes is older than Amice, so let's go with Agnes. Let's have Richard and Agnes. Okay, I'm going to do that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to get Richard married to Agnes. So the two of them are going to add her to the spreadsheet and all of that. I am going to move him out because there's not really enough room in that household to have her and 3 kids. I mean, you know, there could be, assuming at least one of them dies, but we're just going to move them out for right now. I actually haven't put anyone back in our household, so we'll probably notice here that we're in a new save file. And I know I talked a little bit about that last time. My save was just not working. It was just not working anymore. Time was not passing. It was very strange. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start over. So if you want any of these households or the lot that we're currently living in, I uploaded those to the gallery so that I could then re-download them. So you'll be able to download them too if you want to. And then, yeah, so I got a new blank save file, seriously blank save, and then I put down everything again. So some things are going to be a little different, like some relationships and stuff obviously are not going to be the same. We're going to do our best to, you know, not have an interruption in what we were doing, but there are going to be a few things that are, you know, we have to kind of handle as we go. So we're just going to deal with that as we go along. So that is where we are there. Then we are back in our household. We have now Constance, who is working on her toddler skills. And then we have, you know, the kids. Everyone's just kind of doing their thing, right? The kids, and it's Luke's birthday this year. Luckily, he'll survive. So I'm feeling good about that, and everything is good. So we are good there. And we are going to then send out Cestria to the Light family castle. Of course, it's a different castle than we previously had, because honestly, I don't even remember what castle it was, but here is the new one. And so we are just going to have her chatting with Avina a little bit. So Avina, as you know, has been plotting against her sister, and she has kind of taken Cestria in as one of her lackeys and has used you know, the promise of a potential marriage to Humphrey to kind of get Cestria to do her bidding. So that is where she is at. And so she's basically telling Cestria, like, okay, now's your time. Like, now is the moment. I need you to do something for me. And she basically gives her, you know, like a little firework type thing. And she goes, I just need you to go and leave this in Audrey's room. So she basically tells her that, and you know, Cestria is kind of hesitant. She's like, well, what does this do? What is going to happen? And she's like, look, you said you were going to help. Are you going to help or not? Like, do you want to get married or not? Like, what do you want? You know, and Cestria really doesn't feel like she can do anything. I mean, keep in mind too, she's kind of in deep now. Like she's at a point where it's not easy for her, especially um, because of the situation with that being a literal princess. Like Avina is a princess, Avina is in charge, and she can ruin Celestria's life. And Celestria's already agreed to this, and just everything is going wrong for her, even though she initially was going to back out of the agreement. And then the thing with Humphrey came up, and then she's like, can I don't know. And so she goes upstairs and she actually runs into Audrey, and she's like, oh hey, and they get to talking a little bit, and Audrey is very nice to her. Audrey is being very sweet and kind, and Celestria is feeling really guilty because she knows that whatever is about to happen is not good. Like, she knows by now that Avina is a danger to everyone, and that she is, potentially going to cause a big problem. And she kind of likes Audrey. She's like, Audrey is nice. Like, I don't know if I should be doing this or not, and she feels guilty. And so she's basically going to, instead of really following Avina's plan exactly, what she's going to do is she's going to kind of, still complete it so that Avina can't get mad at her, but also kind of bungle the whole thing, where she, places the firework on the far end away from where Audrey is. She knows that Audrey will not be caught up in whatever it is. So she's just going to set it off early by accident, quote unquote, so that she can kind of make sure that Audrey doesn't get caught up in whatever kind of happens here. So it took me way too long to find those. And of course, while I was doing that, Humphrey downstairs found a fire, but that's not the fire we're talking about. So yeah, Celestria basically sets the fire, and she gets all singed and everything. And so she actually is going to, Olivia kind of caught sight of her by the fire all singed up, but she's just going to run away, run out of the house, and try and, not not get involved in whatever is going on here. She's just like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. Whether or not it worked is none of my business. Like she's kind of trying to get innocent, to Avina, like, oh, well, I did what you said. I don't know what happened, So she comes home and she's really freaking out because I don't think she realized how big the fire was going to get or what was going to happen and all of that stuff. And so she's very stressed, and she needs to come and talk to Nicholas. She really does. She's hasn't really trusted Nicholas with her welfare, but in the past, but she doesn't have anyone else to turn to besides him. So she's basically going to, pull him aside and be like, look, I think I have gotten myself into something and I don't know what to do, and I feel like I've made a mistake and I'm really nervous about it. And so she basically confesses to him what is going on, what is happening, why she did what she did, that she's worried about the consequences, all of that stuff. So that is what's going on there. And so Nicholas is shocked. Like, obviously he hasn't been paying close enough attention to her and to her life, and so he's very surprised that this whole thing happened. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, seriously? Like, he's like, what is going on when I'm not looking at these kids? And so I think that it's a little bit of a wake-up call for Nicholas to kind of be like, oh my gosh, like, something really bad has been happening to one of my charges, and I just didn't even notice. Like, he feels really bad about that. And so he's just kind of sitting there contemplating things like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to help her? What can I do to help her? And he just really feels out of his depth, So he's stressed. Everyone's stressed. And yeah, so then we are again working on the toddler skills, having a good time here. Just enjoying that. The kids, although she's really not having a good time. She is not having a very good time at all, but that's okay. She is still going to get her toddler skills up. These kids still are getting a great education. They're being taken care of. I think that this is definitely a wake-up call for Nicholas, and I hope that, we can basically use this as a way for him to be more involved in his children's lives and, be more focused on some of the concerns that might be present for these situations. So, yes. And yeah, so he definitely needs to focus a little bit more on making sure that you know, things don't go wrong. And he has not been. So, that's on him. But anyway, he is now going to go out on a little date with Wachira and Arun. So he's going to go out with them to the restaurant. Again, a new restaurant I placed down. I placed down some new community lots and all that stuff. So we're going to get to explore them a little bit, which I think is going to be nice. Also, I wanted to make sure that neighborhoods. Oh, wait. We're not going to the restaurant just yet. Okay, what happened? What happened was that Bert asked if he should date Amyce, and we said okay. So I'm getting them married, but at the same time, like I wasn't going to marry them right away. But then I realized that like I haven't set any of the neighborhood stories, and I was worried that like it would be on and doing things to some of my households. So I was like, oh. So I just went really quickly over to fix the neighborhood stories and make sure that my Sims aren't doing things I don't want them to do. And so meanwhile, we also did get Bert and Amyce married, which is fine. Now we are definitely going to need to add some new families into the game because you know there are no more unmarried ladies that are not our Sims. Not that that really matters, but I do like marrying them to townies if I can, if the population isn't too high, and I feel like the population isn't out of control right now, so I don't mind it. Then I'm realizing for some reason the restaurant, even though it's labeled a restaurant and everything, it like won't let me get a table here, and I really don't know what's going on there. So I like replace it with a different restaurant and all this stuff, and I'm really honestly not sure what gets it to work or not. So it was just kind of frustrating because basically I placed it and then like they wouldn't sit at the table. Like I kept requesting table or I'd request a specific table or and all that stuff, and it just didn't work. It like wasn't doing the thing. And so that's really frustrating, but I think it's sort of working now. Like some people can sit at some tables and I'm really not sure what the deal is, but we're just going to have to accept it. And anyway, so yeah, it's really weird, but what I'm saying is happening here because obviously they're never going to sit down at the table and do the thing that I want them to do. But what's happening here is that Nicholas and Arun and Wachira are having a little outing, and Wachira is pregnant and it is our baby, although they don't know that, right? Like they just, when you both sleep around, you have to accept the fact that maybe some of those babies aren't going to be yours. But anyway, so they're sitting down, they're having a good time together and all that stuff. And I don't think Nicholas is worried about it being his baby. I think he just kind of is like, well, it's their baby. Like they are going to raise it together. They're going to raise it as a Venian, and I'm not worried about that. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Maybe the baby will super look like him. I don't know. But anyway, so they're here, and I'm saying anyway too much. And basically, Nicholas does confide in them because he doesn't really have a lot of people that he's close with. Like he doesn't have a lot of people that he's close with that he is, can open up to about that kind of stuff. So he does open up to them a bit about what's going on. He doesn't tell them the details, but he basically says like Celestria's gotten herself in trouble. I really don't know what I'm going to do, and she may have slighted Queen Audrey. So they're just kind of like, well, why don't you like try to talk to Audrey? I mean, you guys are relatives. So he's thinking about that. But meanwhile, it is going to be Luke's birthday. So we're going to have the birthday party, and we're going to work on the toddler skills, and we're going to bake the cake, and of course they're going to go all over the place to do all these things, but that's totally fine. They're just going to enjoy themselves. And then I'm going to have to fix that trash can. I don't know what was wrong with it, to be completely honest with you, but we're just going to accept it. And then we're going to double fist some drinks. So that'll be kind of funny. But yeah, he made the drink, so I'm like, okay, like let's do it then. So there is that. which I just think is amusing. But yeah, so we're going to do a pretty good job on the toddler skills this year. She's not done with them, but she's in a good spot with them, so I'm not really too worried about it. But yeah, Luke's birthday, we're getting the cake ready, and we're very excited, and we're, hoping for the best. So there is that. And we are going to have our baby be born. And I was kind of debating whether I was going to roll for the baby or not, because it's not technically going to be recognized as our child, but I think we should. So this is Hugh Venian, and he is our illegitimate child. And but nobody knows that. We don't even know that it's our kid, right? Like, we don't even know that. So it's really not a concern. And so that's where we're at with that. And then we are going to age up Luke and get him into Create a Sim. And he is such a cutie. He has got his dad's eyes. Like, he's a good looking kid. I'm excited. So I think that he's going to be a great heir if he survives. You never know. You never know what is going to happen there, but we're going to do our best to make sure he survives. And then we're going to have, the birthday party where we are going to just invite everybody over and have them have cake and everything, but it's still a little early for that, so I'm just kind of waiting to make sure that we can do that, actually. And then we're going to invite them all over and have, a little celebration for Luke's birthday and have everyone having a good time and enjoying themselves. And so one of the things that's also going to happen right now, as soon as people actually start getting here, is that we are going to have another conversation with Arun and Watira, because, as we talked about previously, I was thinking about making an arrangement for their children to marry each other. So I think that that'll be fun. We can have him and Arun basically have a conversation where they're like, hey, we want to put our families together officially, even though we can't do it in the capacity that we've done it so far. And so I think that it would be great if we did that. And so they basically, come up with a betrothal arrangement for Luke and Marie. So Luke and Marie are, okay, he is naked. He did that. But yeah, that's really something. But anyway, yes, Bert, I understand that it went well with A Mice because you're married. But anyway, so now we're going to have Luke and Marie actually meet each other and get to know each other a little bit. So Marie actually has the slob trait, which is interesting. But yeah, we're going to have the two of them spend some time and really get to know each other a little bit, become close. Their parents are kind of pushing them together. And I forgot to say that Luke did roll for the genius trait, so he is, going to be a genius. He's going to be very smart, but it's also something that doesn't really impact his personality, like, towards Marie very much. But anyway, they get along just fine. Like, I don't think that either of them are really thinking about things like marriage. Like, they don't think they really understand at this age. But they're the same age, and they are from families that want to come together, and they're feeling good about that. And so they are just going to go for it. They're going to try and get to know each other and try and become friends. And you know what? Their friendship goes up very quickly. So I feel like there's a good compatibility there where it all happened very fast and that they're getting along really well. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, I'm just having them hang out together a little bit. They actually do get very close. Like, they get their friendship bar all the way up. So I'm feeling really good about that. And yeah, so they're having fun. We're going to continue to do the toddler skills. And then also, Watira called and asked if she should try for a baby. And I'm like, yeah, do it. Like, you should. So we'll see if they have another baby. And yeah, so we're just playing chess and getting to know Marie a little bit and just getting closer to her. She's very cute. Although I think it is interesting. Like, it's kind of a gamble, isn't it, to like, uh, to worry about, being related, right? Like, it's a big possibility that they could actually be relatives. So that's awkward, but just something we have to accept. Um, so yeah. And then we're not obviously going to let that happen. Like, we're not going to let that happen. But these two aren't related, so I'm not really worried about it. But if we were going to say something about like the younger kids or anything, then that could be an issue. So we'll see. But anyway, they're having a good time. And they're going to become best friends too. So I'm excited about that. And then we're just going to start doing our birthday stuff. So let's talk birthdays. So what we have is we have Mary Whitehead becoming a toddler. We have Luke Larkin becoming a child. Joanna Crookshank becoming a teenager, and she's gorgeous, let me tell you. Richard Hobard II becoming a young adult, and he got married. Camille Waldrick becoming a young adult. Miguel Domino becoming a young adult. Marie Venian becoming a child. Sophronia Domino becoming a child. Tobias Stroud becoming a toddler. Arabella Stroud becoming a toddler. Bertram Waldrick becoming a toddler, and Hugh Venian being born and becoming an infant. So those are the birthdays for this year. Let me check and see if anything exciting is going on next year. I mean, I'm sure every year is exciting, right? I mean, we're going to have to deal with the fact that someone lit the palace on fire. But anyway, let's see. Oh my gosh, there's no birthdays next year. Okay, but we do have some babies being born, so that'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be okay. All right, well, I think that is that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part. I'm having a lot of fun, and I think that we're definitely going to see some consequences from Cestria's actions and everything. So look forward to that, and I will catch you in the next one.